Hi Year 4, hope you're all doing okay and welcome to Friday's maths lesson. Before we go into today's learning, can you have a look at the starter? It says what number is shown here as a fraction and what is the number as a decimal, and how do you know that? So pause the video and have a go at working out that starter for me. So let's look at the fraction first. So as a fraction, we would just count how many parts are shaded. So I know here there's 10, there's another 10 here, so 20, 21, 22, 23. So we've got 23. My pen wants to work properly. Hang on, I'm just going to pause the video while I sort my pen out. There we go, sorry about that. So we have 23 and the shapes has been split into 10 equal parts, so 23 tenths. That could also be written as 2 wholes and 3 tenths. Either one's correct. That's just an improper fraction, and that's a mixed number fraction because we have 2 wholes and then 1, 2, 3 tenths. And then as a decimal, it would be 2.3 because there are 2 wholes, so there's 2 ones, and then there are 3 left over, 3 tenths, so therefore it's 2.3. Okay. So, moving on into today's learning, we're going to carry on with what we've been doing on looking at tenths and writing decimals correctly using a number line. So, our star words are pretty much the same, we've just added a number line. So, before we go into today's learning then, all I want you to do is think about when we might use decimals on a number line. Your clue is to think about measurements. So, think about maybe when you might measure something, what might you use that has a number line where you might need to use decimals. So if you have someone at home, pause the video and have a think about it with them. If not, let's move on. So we might use decimals on a number line for measuring length or height. So if we measure the length or the height of something, we might use a ruler and we use a number line with decimals on it for that. If we're measuring capacity, so that just means how much water can fit in something, well, not water, liquid can fit in something. So you might have one of these at home, a measuring jug, and you'll see on the side there's like a number line and they can have decimals on it. Temperature, a thermometer you might use at home to take your temperature, and that would have a number line on it on the side, and you could have the different decimals on it. And then distance is where you might use a tape measure, and that also you can see has decimals on it as well. So lots of different things we use in our everyday lives with a number line with decimals on it. So that's why it's really important to be able to not just use a number line, but to be able to use it with decimals. So that's why we're looking at it today. So using our number line knowledge that we already have, because I know you all know how to use a number line, what number is the arrow pointing to? So we have a number line which has 1 on this side and 2 there. So they're 2 whole numbers. So we know that in the middle is not going to be a whole number. So what do you think this one here would be? It would be 1.1, and this would be 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. I'm going to start writing underneath us, I won't fit it all in. 1.6, 1.7, and 1.8. So therefore, I've just realised, sorry, that actually that 2 should be there, because that would be 1.8, 1.9, and then that would be 2. Okay, so it goes up each time in tenths. It goes up in 1 decimal tenth. So it's 1.1, 1.2, and so on. So that would be 1.8. So that's your turn. Let me just move that 2 to where it should be. There we go. What would that be? So pause the video, have a think. What number is the arrow pointing to? It would be 1.3 because this is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So therefore it's one whole and 3 tenths. So moving on to using a ruler then, we're going to use our knowledge on a number line to look at using a ruler. And a lot of you use them in school, so you know what a ruler is, and some of you might know how to use them, some of you might not, and that's fine. That's why we're going to look at this today. So what number is the arrow pointed to on the ruler? Now we can see it's somewhere between 3 and 4. Now if you look in between 3 and 4, you can see there's a big line right in the middle. What do you think that line represents? In each pair of whole numbers there's a big line, and it's always halfway. So therefore it's always going to be 0.5, okay, because it's halfway between something. So between 1 and 2 it's 1.5, 2 and 3 is 2.5, between 3 and 4 it's 3.5, okay, between 4 and 5 it would be 4.5, 5.5, 6.5 and so on, okay. And the increments on each side, so the lines on each side, they would also have decimals. So it's 1.1, 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5. Okay, so you can also count up, but just so that you know that the larger line in the middle, or the longer line, is always 0.5. So now it's your turn. What number is the arrow pointing to now? So use the ruler to help, use it as a number line. You can see it's on 6. Oh, didn't mean to move it again, sorry. I think that's where it was. So it's 6.1.2. So this one's 6.2. Sorry if I've moved it. If I did move it and it was 6.3 before 6.1, then that's fine as well. So now I want you to pause the video and have a look at these. So there's 3 different arrows. Can you find out what the number is, what each arrow is pointing to, which number? So pause the video and have a go. Okay, and here are the answers. So this one is pointing to 2.1. This one is 6.7, and I worked that out by knowing that this middle one is 6.5, so then 6.6, 6.7, I counted on from there. And same with this one, 9.9. I actually looked at 10, and I saw it was 1 behind that, so I just took away a tenth, which is 9.9. But you might have just counted up, and that's fine if you still got the right answer. So moving on to our developed learning then, if we have rectangle A, what is the length of rectangle A? If we were measuring it, if it was, say, an object in our home and we used a ruler, how long is it? You can see it lines up to 4.5. Also, when you're using a ruler, it's really important that your shape starts on the 0, not on the start of the ruler, because you need to make sure it starts where the 0 is, which is why the rectangle is there, not on the side here. So you can see it lines up about here, so it's about 4.5. Rectangle B is 0.6 centimeters shorter than rectangle A. How long is rectangle B? So if we know the rectangle A is 4.5 centimeters long, but rectangle B is 0.6 centimeters shorter, we need to take away 0.6 from 4.5. Now we can do that using the ruler. We can use it as a number line. So if I get another pen, we can go back 6/10 to find the answer. So it's going to be quite small because they're so small. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you just go backwards on each one, it's hard for me to do because this pen's quite thick. But if you go back 6, it would land on 3.9. Okay, so therefore rectangle B is 3.9 centimeters. So all I did was found where 4.5 is, so how long rectangle A is, and then took away 0.6, which is 6/10, went backwards 6 spaces. Okay, hopefully that made sense. There is a question very similar to that you'll be doing a bit later on, so you can use this to refer to that. So today there's 2 tasks set for your activity. The first one, what I would like you to do is to measure 5 objects in your house using either a ruler if you have one, or a measuring tape, that's also fine. What I want you to do is write the object that you measure in your book, or on whatever you're writing on, and then the measurement next to it. And remember to write whatever you're measuring it in, that next to it. So if you're using a ruler, it'll probably be centimeters, so write 5 centimeters. If you're using a tape measure, it might be meters, and if you're measuring something really, really big. So make sure you remember to write whatever the measurement is next to it. Alternatively, if you don't have a ruler or a measuring tape, or you want to do this as well, you can measure the capacity of different mugs or glasses in a measuring jug. So if you have a measuring jug where you have the measurements on the side, you could fill up like a big glass and a small glass, pour it in the jug one at a time, and then see how much water is in each one, if that makes sense. Or just pour different amounts of water in it. It's just basically to get you to practice reading measurements off either a ruler or a tape measure or a jug, or whatever you want to use. Okay, so it's just about practicing measuring things using a ruler and looking at decimals on a number line. Once you've done that, there are some questions, not very many, so this is just groups 1 questions. These are on a PDF on the website if you do want to print them out. And this is group 2. The second part of group 2. And then here's a challenge as well. Once you've had a go at some of those, come back to me and we'll go through the answers to the questions. Okay, so answer time then. So for this first set of questions for group 1, it says place the decimals on the number line. So we have 0 and we have 1. 0.5 is going to be halfway through, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where 0.5 is. 0.9 will be here, just before 1, and 1.1 will be just after 1. Okay, complete the number lines. So 4, 4.2, 4.4. So it's going up in 2 tenths at a time. So this would be 4.6 and then 4.8. 5, 5.2, 5.4, 5.6, 5.8, and then it would go to 6, 6.2, and then 6.4. And the bottom one is going up in 3s by the looks of it. So 5.9 add 0.3 tenths, 3 tenths would be 6.2. And then you have to count backwards. So 5.9 take away 0.3 is 5.6. 5.3, and it should start on 5. So 5, 5.3, 5.6, 5.9, 6.2, 6.5, then it'd be 6.8, and then 7.1, 7.4, 7.7, and then it would be 8, 8.3, and 8.6. So they're quite tricky actually, so hopefully that was okay. How long is the ribbon? The ribbon is, no, it doesn't actually start on 0, so you can't unfortunately just measure it, you need to count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 meters long. Okay, let me just double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, 8 meters long. Group 2 then, how long is the grasshopper? The grasshopper is, now it's quite hard to see, so I apologise for that, but if you had something similar, then that's fine. I'm going to say 9.6, but if you had something around that, then that's fine. Another grasshopper is 0.7 centimeters shorter. How long is the second grasshopper? So if he's 0.7 centimeters shorter, it would be 8.9 centimeters long. All I did there is just took away 9.6, so it's 9.6, take away 0.7, and that's 8.9. Group 2, record the position of the following numbers on the number line below. So we have 4.3 here. So therefore, if we're going up in tenths, that would be 4.2, 4.1, 4, 3.9. So that would go there. 4.5 is equivalent to 4.5, so a half is 5. So that would go there. And then 4.6 would just go after that. And 5 would be 4.7, 4.8, 4.9, 5. It would be at the end. Okay? Hope that was okay. And then this one says the number line below has not been labelled correctly. Explain the mistake that has been made, then rewrite the number line correctly. So what they've done here is once they've got to 4.9, they go to 4 and 10 tenths. But as we know, using our place value grids, once you've got 10 tenths, that makes a whole. So actually you would add 1 whole onto the 4. So that would actually be 5. And then that would be 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and so on. Okay. So the mistake that has been made is that he's not exchanged his tens for a 1. Okay, or he, she, whoever did the number line. And he's just carried on counting up in tens when actually the tens need to be exchanged for a 1, so the ones can increase, and then you start back at 1 tenth, 2 tenths, and so on. And then finally the challenge, what could the start and the end numbers on this number line be? This is quite a tricky one. There's a few different answers. So depending on what the increments are going up in, so the lines are going up in, If they're just going up in tenths, then this would be 6.4, 6.5, 6.6, 6.7, 6.8, 6.9. So that could be 6.9. And then that would be 6.3, 6.2, 6.1, 6. So it could be 6 and 6.9 if they're going up in tenths. 6.1, 6.2, 6. Yep, just checking. So it could be that. They could be going up in twos. So, and as in 2/10 at a time. So that would be 6.6, 6.8. Then that would be 7, 7.2, 7.4. It could be 7.4, and this would be 6.2, 6, 5.8, 5.6. Oh, the brain power. So it could be 5.6 and 7.4. It could be lots of numbers. You could be going down in 3/10 or 4/10, and that could be the jumps between each increment. It depends on what you chose to do. So there's lots of different answers, but those are the two main ones that I would have looked at. You might have even done that you went down in one hole each time, so that might have been 5.4, 4.4, 3.4. It depends on whatever you had as the increments. Hopefully that was explained okay for you. If any of you want me to go through that again, then just let me know and I can get in touch with you to do so. But that's everything for today. 16 minutes, not too bad. I think that's okay. Hopefully you enjoyed the other activity of measuring the items around your house. And yes, thank you for watching.